Kate Miller stood in front of her bedroom mirror, adjusting the navy blue dress she had bought specifically for tonight's company banquet. The annual celebration at Henderson Corporation was always a grand affair, but this year felt different. She had been working at the marketing firm for 3 years, and tonight she would finally meet the CEO's son, William Henderson, who was taking over several departments. Her hands trembled slightly as she applied the final touch of lipstick. Kate had always been confident in professional settings, but something about tonight made her nervous. Maybe it was the pressure of representing her team, or perhaps it was the stories she had heard about William being a demanding perfectionist, who had little patience for mistakes. The invitation had arrived 2 weeks ago with elegant gold lettering, announcing the celebration of the company's 15th anniversary. All department heads and senior staff were required to attend. Kate, as the lead marketing coordinator, had earned her spot at the prestigious event. Her supervisor, Mrs. Roberts, had specifically mentioned that Kate's recent campaign for their biggest client had caught the attention of upper management. As Kate grabbed her purse and headed to her car, she couldn't shake the feeling that tonight would change something in her life. The venue was the grand ballroom at the Riverside Hotel, a place she had only seen in magazines. She had Googled pictures of previous company events there, and the elegance was intimidating. The drive through the city took longer than expected due to evening traffic. Kate found herself stuck behind a line of expensive cars, probably other attendees heading to the same destination. She used the time to practice conversations in her head, rehearsing how she would introduce herself to important clients and executives. When she finally arrived at the hotel, valet attendants were directing cars to the parking area. Kate felt out of place among the luxury vehicles, but she reminded herself that she had earned her spot here through hard work and dedication. Her modest sedan might not fit in with the BMWs and Mercedes, but her achievements spoke for themselves. The hotel lobby was bustling with well-dressed people heading toward the ballroom. Kate recognized several faces from different departments, though she rarely interacted with most of them. The company was large enough that each department operated almost independently, coming together only for major projects or events like this. She took the elevator to the 3rd floor, where the sounds of classical music and conversation grew louder as she approached the ornate double doors of the grand ballroom. A young woman with a tablet checked her name off the guest list and handed her a name tag with the company logo embossed in gold. The ballroom took Kate's breath away. Crystal chandeliers cast warm light over round tables covered in white linens and elaborate centerpieces. A live quartet played soft jazz in one corner, while waiters in black uniforms circulated with champagne and appetizers. The room buzzed with the energy of successful people celebrating their achievements. Kate spotted her immediate colleagues near the bar and made her way over, grateful to see familiar faces. Sarah from graphic design waved her over enthusiastically, complimenting her dress and asking about her recent vacation. The conversation helped Kate relax as she settled into the social atmosphere of the evening. However, as more executives began arriving and the formal program was announced to start soon, Kate felt her earlier nervousness returning. She excused herself from the group to freshen up in the ladies' room, taking a moment to collect herself before the evening's main events began. When Kate returned to the ballroom, the atmosphere had shifted noticeably. More senior executives had arrived, and she could sense a certain formality settling over the crowd. People were finding their assigned seats as the evening's program was about to begin. Kate checked her table number and discovered she had been placed at table 7, closer to the front than she had expected. As she made her way to her seat, Kate noticed a tall man in an impeccably tailored charcoal suit standing near the head table. Even from a distance, she could tell he commanded attention without trying. His dark hair was perfectly styled, and he moved with the confidence that came from years of leadership training. Several department heads had gathered around him, and Kate realized this must be William Henderson. William was nothing like she had imagined. The stories around the office had painted him as cold and intimidating, but from what she could observe, he seemed engaged and genuinely interested in the conversations happening around him. He listened carefully when others spoke and responded with what appeared to be thoughtful consideration, rather than dismissive authority. Kate found her seat between Tom from accounting and Jennifer from human resources. Both were pleasant colleagues she had worked with on various projects over the years. Tom was already deep into a story about his recent fishing trip, while Jennifer was commenting on the elaborate table decorations that must have cost more than most people's monthly salaries. The formal program began with remarks from the company's founder and CEO, Robert Henderson, William's father. He spoke about the company's growth over 15 years and acknowledged the dedication of employees who had contributed to their success. Kate found herself genuinely moved by his words about treating employees like family and investing in their professional development. When Robert introduced his son, William, as the future leader of several key departments, the applause was enthusiastic and genuine. Kate joined in, curious to hear what William would say about his vision for the company. As William approached the podium, she noticed how comfortable he seemed in front of the large crowd. William's speech was surprisingly personal and down-to-earth. Instead of corporate jargon, he talked about meeting employees in their departments and learning about the real challenges they faced daily. He mentioned specific projects and gave credit to teams by name, including Kate's marketing department for their recent successful campaign. Kate felt a flush of pride when he specifically mentioned the creativity and innovation that had led to their biggest client renewal. After the formal speeches, dinner service began with an elaborate 5-course meal. Kate was impressed by the attention to detail in every aspect of the evening, from the precisely folded napkins to the carefully planned wine pairings. The conversation at her table flowed easily, covering everything from work projects to weekend plans and vacation destinations. During the main course, Kate noticed William had left the head table and was making his way around the room, stopping to chat with employees at their tables. She watched as he genuinely engaged with people, asking about their families and remembering details about their work that showed he had been paying attention during his department visits. As William's table visits brought him closer to where Kate was sitting, she felt her heartbeat quicken slightly. She had prepared several conversation topics in case she had the opportunity to speak with him, but now that the moment was approaching, her mind felt blank. Tom was in the middle of an amusing story about a client meeting gone wrong when William appeared beside their table. "Good evening, everyone," William said with a warm smile that reached his eyes. "I hope you're all enjoying the celebration." He went around the table, greeting each person by name and asking specific questions that showed he had done his homework about his employees. When he reached Kate, his handshake was firm and his attention focused entirely on her, as if she were the only person in the room. "Kate Miller, from marketing," William said with recognition in his voice. "Your campaign for the Morrison account was exceptional. The client feedback has been outstanding, and the retention numbers exceeded all our projections." Kate felt surprised and pleased that he knew her work so specifically. Most executives she had encountered offered generic praise, but William clearly understood the details of what made her campaign successful. "Thank you, Mr. Henderson," Kate replied, finding her voice steadier than she had expected. "The Morrison account presented some unique challenges, but our team really came together to find creative solutions." She was proud that she managed to give credit to her colleagues while acknowledging the compliment gracefully. "Please, call me William," he said with that genuine smile again. "I've been reviewing the marketing strategies across all our major accounts, and your approach to customer engagement stands out significantly. I'd love to discuss your ideas for expanding those techniques to other clients when you have time." Kate felt a mixture of excitement and nervousness at the prospect of a one-on-one meeting with William about her work. "I would welcome that opportunity," she managed to say, hoping she sounded more confident than she felt. "I have several ideas about how we could adapt those strategies for different market segments." William spent a few more minutes chatting with the table before moving on to continue his rounds. Kate noticed that while he was equally polite and engaging with everyone, their conversation had lasted noticeably longer than his interactions with her table mates. Tom raised an eyebrow at her with an amused expression, but thankfully didn't comment until William was out of earshot. "Well, that was impressive," Jennifer whispered once William had moved to the next table. "He definitely knows your work, Kate. That kind of specific recognition from the future department head could really open doors for you." Kate nodded, still processing the interaction and what it might mean for her career prospects. The evening continued with entertainment from a local jazz singer whose smooth voice filled the ballroom beautifully. Kate found herself relaxing and genuinely enjoying the sophisticated atmosphere. The wine was exceptional, and the dessert course featured an elaborate chocolate creation that was almost too beautiful to eat. As the formal program concluded, and people began mingling more freely, Kate excused herself from her table to visit the ladies' room and get some fresh air. The evening had been more intense than she had anticipated, between the networking opportunities and her unexpected conversation with William. The ladies' room was elegant and spacious, with marble countertops and soft lighting that was flattering rather than harsh. Kate touched up her lipstick and took a moment to process everything that had happened so far. The evening had exceeded her expectations in every way, and she felt optimistic about her future with the company. When she emerged from the restroom, Kate decided to step out onto the hotel's terrace for a few minutes of fresh air before returning to the celebration. The terrace overlooked the city, and the view was spectacular with lights twinkling and buildings stretching to the horizon. A few other guests had also stepped outside, chatting quietly in small groups. Kate stood near the railing, enjoying the cool evening breeze and the relative quiet after the bustling energy of the ballroom. She was reflecting on William's comments about her work and wondering what kind of opportunities might arise from their conversation when she heard footsteps approaching behind her. "The view is incredible. From up here," came William's familiar voice. Kate turned to find him standing a few feet away, loosening his tie slightly after the formal evening. "I needed some air after all those speeches and conversations. How are you enjoying the evening?" His tone was more casual now, less formal than their earlier interaction at the table. "It's been wonderful," Kate replied honestly. "Much more elegant than I expected, and everyone has been so welcoming. I don't often get to attend events like this, so I'm trying to take it all in." She gestured toward the city lights spread out before them, feeling more comfortable in the quieter setting of the terrace. William moved closer to the railing, maintaining a respectful distance while creating a more intimate conversation space. "I have to admit these company events can be overwhelming even when you're used to them," he said with a slight laugh. "Sometimes I escape out here just to remember why we do all this work in the first place. The city looks so peaceful from up here, but I know there are thousands of people down there working hard to build their lives and careers." Kate found his perspective refreshing and more thoughtful than she had expected from someone in his position. "I never thought of it that way," she said, looking out at the cityscape with new appreciation. "It's easy to get caught up in the daily details and forget about the bigger picture of what we're all working toward." "Exactly," William agreed, turning slightly to face her. "That's one of the things I noticed about your Morrison campaign. You didn't just focus on the immediate sales goals. You built a relationship strategy that considered the long-term value of the partnership. That kind of thinking is what sets exceptional work apart from merely good work." Kate felt genuinely flattered by his analysis of her approach. "I learned early in my career that sustainable success comes from understanding what clients really need, not just what they think they want," she explained. The Morrison account was challenging because their initial requests didn't align with their actual business objectives. It took several meetings to help them see a different approach. "That level of strategic thinking is exactly what we need more of as the company grows," William said with obvious enthusiasm for the topic. "I've been reviewing all our client relationships, and there's enormous potential for deeper engagement across multiple sectors. Your success with Morrison could be a model for how we approach other major accounts." Their conversation was interrupted by the sound of laughter and voices as more people stepped onto the terrace. The dessert course had ended inside, and guests were beginning to move around more freely. Kate noticed several executives she recognized, along with clients who had been invited to the celebration. "I should probably get back inside and continue making rounds," William said with what seemed like genuine reluctance. "But I meant what I said about discussing your ideas further. Would you be available for a meeting next week? I'm particularly interested in your thoughts about expanding our digital engagement strategies." Kate felt a thrill of professional excitement at the opportunity to share her ideas with someone who clearly understood their value. "Absolutely," she replied. "I have several proposals I've been developing that could work well for different types of clients. I'd be happy to prepare a presentation." "Perfect," William said, pulling out his phone to check his calendar. "How about Tuesday afternoon? Say 3 o'clock in my office." Kate nodded, making a mental note to clear her schedule and prepare thoroughly for what could be a career-defining meeting. As they walked back toward the ballroom together, Kate noticed curious glances from other employees who saw them entering together. She hoped their professional conversation wouldn't be misinterpreted as anything personal, though she had to admit that William's genuine interest in her work and ideas was both professionally exciting and personally flattering. The ballroom had transformed while they were outside. The dinner tables were being cleared away to create space for dancing, and a DJ had taken over from the jazz quartet with music that encouraged mingling and celebration. The lighting had been dimmed slightly, creating a more relaxed atmosphere as the evening transitioned into its final phase. Kate found herself swept into conversations with colleagues and clients, discussing everything from industry trends to vacation plans. The wine and the success of her interaction with William had left her feeling confident and sociable. She found herself laughing more easily and engaging in conversations that went beyond the usual office small talk. Around 10 o'clock, Kate began to feel the effects of the long evening. She had been up since 5 in the morning for an early meeting, and the combination of excitement, wine, and rich food was making her feel lightheaded. She excused herself from a conversation with some colleagues from the sales department and went to find a quiet place to sit down for a moment. The ballroom had become quite warm with all the people and activity. Kate found an empty chair near the back of the room, away from the main flow of foot traffic, and sat down to collect herself. She took a few deep breaths and sipped some water from her glass, hoping the dizzy feeling would pass quickly. Unfortunately, instead of improving, Kate began to feel worse. The room seemed to be spinning slightly, and she felt nauseous and clammy. She realized she might have had more wine than she thought, combined with the stress and excitement of the evening. Kate closed her eyes for a moment, hoping to steady herself, but the feeling continued to intensify rather than fade away. Kate tried to stand up, thinking that getting some air might help her feel better. But as soon as she rose from the chair, the dizziness became overwhelming. The sounds of the party seemed to fade into the background, and her vision started to blur around the edges. She reached for the back of the chair to steady herself, but her legs felt weak and unsteady. Panic began to set in as Kate realized she was about to faint in front of all her colleagues and important company executives. She looked around desperately for the nearest exit or somewhere she could sit down again, but the room seemed to be tilting and spinning. Her breathing became shallow, and she felt beads of perspiration forming on her forehead despite the air conditioning. Kate took one unsteady step forward, hoping to make it to the ladies' room where she could recover in privacy, but her legs gave out completely. She felt herself falling backward, unable to control her body's response to whatever was happening to her. Time seemed to slow down as she realized there was nothing she could do to stop herself from collapsing. Just as Kate expected to hit the floor, she felt strong arms catch her from behind, supporting her weight and preventing her from falling. Through her disorientation, she heard a familiar voice speaking calmly and reassuringly close to her ear. "I've got you, Kate. You're going to be okay." William had appeared seemingly from nowhere and caught her just as she was about to collapse. His arms were steady and secure around her, and she could feel his calm presence even through her confusion and embarrassment. He guided her gently back into the chair she had been sitting in, supporting her weight while she regained her composure. "Just breathe slowly," William instructed in a quiet, soothing voice that only she could hear. "Take your time. There's no rush." He positioned himself to shield her from the view of other guests while she recovered, creating a private space in the crowded ballroom. His hand rested lightly on her shoulder, offering comfort without being inappropriate. Kate felt mortified as her head began to clear, and she realized what had just happened. "I'm so sorry," she whispered, her voice barely audible. "I don't know what came over me. This is so embarrassing." She could feel tears of shame starting to form in her eyes as she imagined what other people must be thinking. "Don't apologize," William said firmly but kindly. "These things happen, especially at long events with rich food and wine. You have nothing to be embarrassed about." His tone was matter-of-fact and reassuring, without any hint of judgment or concern about the professional implications. A waiter appeared with a glass of cold water and a damp cloth, apparently summoned by William's discreet signal. Kate gratefully accepted both, using the cool cloth on her forehead while sipping the water slowly. The simple act of hydrating helped her feel more grounded and less dizzy. "How are you feeling now?" William asked after giving her a few moments to recover. His attention was completely focused on her well-being, and Kate noticed that he had somehow managed to handle the situation without drawing undue attention from other guests. Most people seemed unaware that anything had happened. "Much better, thank you," Kate replied, and she was relieved to find that this was actually true. The dizziness had passed, and while she still felt embarrassed, her physical symptoms were improving quickly. "I think I just need to go home and get some rest. It's been such a long day." William nodded understandingly. "That sounds like a wise plan. Would you like me to call you a cab? Or did you drive here tonight?" His concern seemed genuine and practical rather than patronizing, which Kate appreciated given how vulnerable she felt. "I drove, but I don't think I should drive myself home right now," Kate admitted reluctantly. The thought of navigating evening traffic while still feeling unsteady seemed unwise, even though she felt much better than she had a few minutes earlier. "Absolutely not," William agreed immediately. "Let me arrange for a driver to take you home and we can have your car delivered tomorrow. The company has an account with a car service for exactly these kinds of situations." His quick problem-solving approach made Kate feel cared for without feeling like a burden. As William made the arrangements on his phone, Kate reflected on how differently the evening had ended than she had imagined. Instead of networking successfully and making a strong professional impression, she had nearly fainted and needed to be rescued. Yet somehow, William's response to the crisis had revealed a character that was even more impressive than his professional reputation. While they waited for the car service to arrive, William sat in the chair next to Kate, maintaining their quiet conversation away from the main crowd. He had somehow managed to create a bubble of calm around them, despite the ongoing celebration just a few feet away. Other guests continued to enjoy the party, seemingly unaware of the small drama that had unfolded. "I have to say, your timing was perfect," Kate said with a weak smile, finally feeling able to make light of the situation. "I was convinced I was going to hit the floor in front of everyone. That would have been quite the memorable way to end my first company banquet." She was grateful that she could find some humor in the experience now that the immediate crisis had passed. William chuckled softly. "I happened to be walking past when I noticed you looking unsteady," he explained. "I've seen it happen before at these events. The combination of a long day, formal atmosphere, rich food, and wine can affect people in unexpected ways. It doesn't reflect on you personally or professionally." Kate felt touched by his reassurance, particularly given how concerned she'd been about making a good impression on him. "I was actually having such a wonderful evening," she said. "The conversation we had earlier about the Morrison account and future opportunities was exactly the kind of discussion I had hoped for tonight, and we'll absolutely continue that conversation next Tuesday," William assured her without hesitation. "Tonight's incident doesn't change anything about my interest in your ideas and your potential contributions to the company. If anything, I'm impressed by how gracefully you're handling an unexpected situation." Kate looked at him with surprise and gratitude. Many executives she had known would have used a moment of weakness like this to reassess someone's professional capabilities, but William seemed to genuinely separate personal circumstances from work performance. "Thank you for understanding," she said sincerely. "And thank you for being there when I needed help." "Anyone would have done the same thing," William replied, though Kate doubted that was entirely true. "Not everyone would have responded with such immediate care and discretion. The important thing is that you're feeling better now." Kate's phone buzzed with a text message from the car service confirming that her driver had arrived at the front entrance of the hotel. William helped her gather her purse and light jacket, checking once more that she felt steady enough to walk to the lobby. Kate appreciated his attentiveness without feeling overwhelmed by it. As they made their way through the ballroom toward the exit, Kate was relieved to find that her legs felt solid and her dizziness had completely disappeared. A few colleagues waved goodbye, assuming she was simply leaving at a reasonable hour. Tom from accounting caught her eye from across the room and gave her a thumbs up, apparently having noticed her conversation with William earlier, but unaware of her medical episode. In the hotel lobby, William walked with her to where the driver was waiting with a small sign bearing her name. The driver was professional and courteous, taking her address and confirming the route they would take. William spoke briefly with him, ensuring that he understood to wait until Kate was safely inside her building before leaving. "Get some rest this weekend," William said as Kate prepared to get into the car, "and don't worry about anything that happened tonight. You handled yourself with dignity, and I look forward to our meeting on Tuesday." His smile was warm and genuine, showing no signs of the formal distance she might have expected after such an unusual ending to their evening. Kate settled into the comfortable back seat of the sedan, feeling a complex mixture of emotions as the hotel disappeared behind them. The evening had been full of unexpected turns. From her successful conversation with William about her work to the embarrassing fainting episode and his surprisingly caring response to her moment of vulnerability during the quiet drive home. Through the city streets, Kate reflected on everything that had happened. She had started the evening nervous about making a good impression, and had ended up revealing a moment of weakness to the very person she most wanted to impress. Yet somehow, William's response had given her more confidence in their professional relationship than a perfect evening might have. The driver was skilled and careful, navigating the late evening traffic smoothly, while soft music played quietly in the background. Kate felt herself relaxing for the first time all day, finally able to process the events without the pressure of maintaining her professional composure. She realized that despite the unexpected ending, the evening had been largely successful. As they pulled up to her apartment building, Kate felt grateful for William's thoughtfulness in arranging safe transportation. The driver waited as she had requested, watching until she had safely entered the building and the lobby lights confirmed her arrival. Such attention to detail spoke well of both William's character and the company's concern for employee well-being. Kate climbed the stairs to her third-floor apartment, finally able to kick off her heels and unwind from the most eventful evening she had experienced in years. As she changed into comfortable pajamas and began removing her makeup, she found herself smiling despite everything that had happened. Saturday morning brought sunshine streaming through Kate's bedroom windows and a much clearer perspective on the previous evening's events. She woke feeling refreshed and completely recovered from whatever had caused her dizzy spell at the banquet. As she made coffee and settled into her favorite chair with the morning newspaper, Kate found herself thinking about William's unexpected kindness and professionalism during her moment of crisis. Her phone buzzed with a text message, and Kate was surprised to see it was from an unknown number. The message read, "Good morning, Kate, this is William Henderson. I hope you're feeling better today. Your car is being delivered to your address this morning, and the keys will be left with your building manager. Looking forward to our meeting Tuesday. Have a great weekend." Kate felt touched that he had taken the time to follow up personally rather than having an assistant handle the car delivery logistics. She replied with a simple thank you message, expressing her appreciation for his thoughtfulness and confirming that she felt completely fine. The gesture reinforced her positive impression of his character and leadership style. Later that morning, Kate's building manager called to confirm that her car had been delivered safely, and the keys were available whenever she needed them. The efficiency of the arrangement impressed her and eliminated any lingering concerns about transportation or the practical consequences of the previous evening. Kate spent the weekend catching up on personal errands and preparing for her upcoming meeting with William. She reviewed her Morrison campaign materials and developed several presentation ideas that could apply similar strategies to other client relationships. The work energized her as she realized how many opportunities existed to expand successful approaches across different market segments. By Sunday evening, Kate felt confident and well prepared for Tuesday's meeting. She had created a comprehensive proposal that outlined specific strategies for 3 different types of client relationships, complete with projected outcomes and implementation timelines. The preparation helped her focus on the professional opportunities ahead rather than dwelling on Friday's embarrassing moment. Tuesday arrived with perfect weather and Kate's renewed confidence intact. She dressed professionally but comfortably, choosing an outfit that made her feel capable and authoritative. The morning passed quickly with routine meetings and project updates, building anticipation for her 3 o'clock appointment with William. When Kate arrived at William's office, she was impressed by the space's combination of elegance and functionality. Large windows overlooked the city, and the furniture struck a balance between executive formality and approachable comfort. William greeted her warmly, offering coffee or water and asking how she had been since Friday's event. "Much better, thank you," Kate replied with genuine appreciation. "And thank you again for your kindness Friday evening. Your quick thinking and discretion made a potentially mortifying situation much more manageable." She wanted to acknowledge his help without dwelling on the incident that could overshadow their professional discussion. "I'm glad you're feeling well," William said, smoothly transitioning to business. "I've been looking forward to hearing your ideas about expanding our client engagement strategies. Your success with Morrison has generated significant interest among the executive team." Kate felt a surge of excitement as she launched into her presentation, explaining how the relationship-building techniques that had worked for Morrison could be adapted for different industry sectors and client personalities. William listened intently, asking thoughtful questions and offering insights that showed his deep understanding of the company's strategic goals. Their conversation extended well beyond the scheduled hour as they explored implementation possibilities and potential challenges. Kate felt energized by William's engagement with her ideas and his obvious respect for her strategic thinking. The meeting concluded with plans for Kate to develop a pilot program that would test her approaches with selected existing clients. As Kate left William's office, she reflected on how dramatically her professional prospects had evolved since Friday evening. What had started as a networking opportunity at a company banquet had transformed into a significant career development discussion. Despite the unexpected complications along the way, the experience had taught Kate valuable lessons about resilience, professionalism, and the importance of authentic human connections in business relationships. William's response to her vulnerable moment had revealed character traits that made her genuinely excited to work with him on challenging projects that could benefit both the company and her own career growth. Walking back to her own office, Kate felt grateful for the unexpected turns that had led to genuine professional recognition and exciting opportunities ahead. Sometimes the most meaningful connections emerged from moments of authenticity rather than perfectly executed networking strategies, and she looked forward to contributing to the company's continued success while developing her own leadership capabilities.